Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Dawn. Let's speak to Marazhai and then level him up. Marazhai Azariash stares down at you from his formidable height, his head slightly tilted to one side. The lean, wiry Xenos is encased in black armor. Not even a sliver of a gap has been left between the tightly fitting plates, which bristle with mutely gleaming barbs and hooks. Set in a white face striated with crimson tattoos, dark eyes devour you, burning with predatory, malevolent interest. I want to know what happened before you took me to Kimura.
You want to know how and to what end I orchestrated all of this? Ask your questions.
Marazhai narrows one eye. Why did you kidnap me?
When Irimaris ordered us to lay waste to the monkey settlements, Tazara and I encountered resistance. I have hunted your kin too long not to notice how well you in particular were fending off our attacks. The rout in Tazara's arena, the appearance at the plundered vessel. Your kind are usually powerless against us, but not on that occasion. I began to suspect that you could not have managed it without outside help. Help from our side. I began sending out spies and assassins. My eyes and ears infiltrated your vessel, your cities, and they discovered a trail that led back to one of your worlds. A trail that ended with a burned monkey, the source of the information about where and when my cabal was going to strike. A little trickery to draw you away from the planet. And I had your little informant in my grasp.
Marazhai waves his hand. So he's talking about Achilles.
How the information was reaching his agents, the burned monkey himself did not even know. But based on the units involved and other details, it was clear. No monkey in real space could have gathered such specifics about raid complements and objectives. No, it was inconceivable. The information was being fed to you by my own kind, and I knew who. Irimaris Azariash, Archon of the Reaving Tempest, my former mistress. A cowardly bitch who punishes anyone who threatens her grip on power. I knew that to win a war against her, I would need the support of the Reaving Tempest's patron, the Cabal of the Black Heart. So I allied with Nazrake, who presided over the trial. I promised him that Irimaris would be humiliated. I promised him evidence. A lowly monkey that would disgrace Irimaris in the eyes of the Archons. For that performance, I needed you.
You have spies aboard my ship.
Of course. If I'm not mistaken, you met the infiltrator yourself. A Cabalite who left a lava from Tavantius in one of the monkey. Or did you never work out the reason for the treachery during the raid on your ship so long ago now? Then there is no need for me to mention the sleeper agents hidden on your worlds.
Marazhai's mouth widens into a wicked smile. What agreement did you make with Nazrake?
Overthrowing an Archon is far from easy, even one who has already tarnished her reputation. Every member of a Cabal has their supporters, and Irimaris is no exception. Nazrake promised me a sham trial in the Obsidian Court with a predetermined outcome. Irimaris should have been convicted and dethroned. I was supposed to take her place and turn the Reaving Tempest into a loyal vassal of the Black Heart. Nazrake was supposed to be the axe that fell on her neck. But it fell on mine instead. It was devious and worthy of praise, but why? A secret pact with Irimaris, or is there another reason? I will tear the answer from his throat along with his final breath.
Marazhai looks past you.
It must be said that Nazrake did not have to try very hard to turn the court against me. Not after the stunt you pulled before the assembled Archons.
Jukari tosses a hate-filled look at you. The tribunal. What was that about? I was being tried by the Inquisitor and Heinrichs, and Theodora were there. Why?
Who? I have no idea what you saw in your stupor. The homunculus's creature does not elicit specific images. It muddles your mind, forcing it to paint suitable pictures evoking confusion or fear. Neither Tavantius nor I care about fussy monkey rituals. The lava must have created a suitable environment for you. One in which you would be more willing to answer my questions in the Obsidian Court.
He looks at you in bewilderment. What were you and Tazara doing in my protectorate?
What do any of my kind do in real space? We were reaping. Kamara was clamoring for meat. The Dark City had suffered losses in the latest disjunction. We needed sources of sweet pain to prime its minds and bodies. When the Archon bade my cabal collect the harvest from the region, I did not suspect that it would turn into this game between you and me.
You and Irlia conspiring together. How did that come about?
Conspiring? No. There was no plot between us. She merely rushed to my bait. At first, I planned to use the one you trusted, the burned monkey with whom we had spent long hours awaiting your arrival. But my cousin was so swift. Afterward, she tracked down the monkey, killed him, and took the device that he had been using to contact me.
I feel like this whole thing with Achilles doesn't make a lot of sense. There was a point where they said he was missing, but he was there. We found him when the palace was under attack and sent him to the Medicae unit. And he was there when we got back on the ship. After that point, they said he was missing. And during that, I think they said he was missing too.
She told me what she had seen in your chambers. A piece of her home, destroyed, twisted beyond recognition, reduced to a trophy on a wall. Yes, that was the breaking point for her. The final drop in a deep well of doubt, dispelling her naive trust of Monkey once and for all. And then she came seeking answers from her dark cousin.
So the Eldar and Dark Eldar don't usually get along, but it's not unheard of for them to work together. So I can see Irliet maybe coming to Marazhai for answers. And there's also a faction where the Dark Eldar and Eldar do work together all the time. The Inari, which are the death cult of the Eldar, for lack of a better term. They're trying to collect all the Crone Swords and get one of their gods to become back their death god. So this isn't outside the realm of possibility.
I did not ask her to hand you over to me. No, doing that would have made my poor cousin doubt herself even more than she was already. I simply told her where to seek out the traces of her craft world and the answers to her questions. A favor for a kinswoman, nothing more. And then I made ready for your arrival. For the only way she would reach that place was with you.
I cannot believe that Achilles betrayed humanity.
When a monkey is left alone with me and my art of pain, I plunge them into a deep well of suffering from which they will do anything to escape. Your kind have fragile souls. Your convictions and principles are a delusion that lends a mirage of meaning to your lives. Achilles and I had plenty of time alone together before your arrival. When he went out to meet you, he was already mine. I bought his loyalty with a promise to never touch his body or his mind ever again.
Marazhai's face breaks into a smile. But still, what do you know about Iliad's craft world?
I know it exists. I know that my cabal found it, helpless and stationary, unable to protect its sons and daughters. I know that Iliad's kin began showing up as prisoners in the Reaving Tempest's spire, where they were fonts of exquisite, delightful pain. I spent too much time beyond the limits of our home to learn more than that. But that was enough to tempt Iliad with false hope.
So you had no intention of helping Iliad?
Why do you say that? I promised to reunite her with her kin. A long-awaited reunion in a torture chamber. I find that very touching. They would have had so much to discuss. But there would have been time for fun as well. We cousins get together so rarely, after all.
Marazhai laughs long and deeply. Well, at least she won't be upset now when she learns the truth.
No, she will not. You were kind enough to get rid of her before my words shattered her fragile little heart.
What were those creatures with you when you captured me?
Mandrakes. A foul breed that lurks in the bowels of Camorra. Their ability to find paths through the shadows was put to good use. I promised them forbidden trophies from the Reaving Tempest's coffers once I am Archon.
Marazhai hesitates, and then gestures indicate that he has finished speaking. You made a promise to the mandrakes that you cannot keep. Aren't you afraid of retribution?
Let them come for what they're owed. They will regret it.
Drukhari scoffs. Despite his self-assured words, concern brings a furrow to Marazhai's brow. Yeah, the mandrakes make Drukhari a little uneasy. The theft of Rykad's son, was that your doing?
Did you not hear me when I answered you the first time? I do not like to repeat myself.
That is enough for now.
Then what else do you need?
What happened to you after the trial?
I was handed over to the witch cult to do with as they wished. First, they made me fight the dregs in the arena, and then, once they'd had their fill of my debasement, I was granted entry into the blood-stained proselytes.
What did you hope to gain by agreeing to become a proselyte?
The continuation of my existence. When I lost my standing, I became fair game for anyone tempted by the prospect of slaying a disgraced Cabalite, for vengeance or just for the pleasure of the kill. In Camorra, a lone Drukhari is a target. My talents may be prodigious, but I held no illusions about my chances.
You did not find much favor among the witches, it seems.
You cannot hope to understand the intricacies of Camorra and how it is structured. We are all each other's allies and worst enemies here. Towers of strength and duplicitous traitors both. The cults have always been half a step below the cabals in the hierarchy, and the witches relished the chance to abuse someone who once looked down on them.
That will do.
If our conversation is finished...
Marazhai impatiently clicks his fingers. When given the chance to join me, he took it readily. That surprised me.
I had no intention of ending my days playing the role of meat in the arena. And then you blithely offered me an alliance after what I'd done to you. Why?
Marazhai leans in and locks eyes with you. I require help to escape from Camorra.
So our interests align. For now.
Tell me about Camorra.
The Dark City is the bastion of the Drukhari, the most magnificent of all our strongholds. The cabals, witch cults, and the incubi inhabit the place. with swarms of scourges flying overhead and a myriad of misfits and horrors, including the covens of the homunculi wallowing underfoot. Which do you want to know about?
You are from a Drukhari Cabal, correct?
The Cabals are the foundation upon which rests the power of the one who rules Camorra, Asdrubal Vect. Whether it is a mob of berserkers or an organized cartel, their essence is the same. An army of killers, ready to ravage entire worlds at the behest of their leaders, or to rip out the throats of a neighboring cabal in a war declared by the Archons.
Yeah, Asdrubal Vect is a testament to what's possible in Camorra, because he started off at the very, very bottom and worked his way all the way to the top. I wish to know more about the witch cults.
What more do you need to know that you have not already beheld with your own eyes? They are the mistresses of the arenas, and they're the gladiators who feed the audience in their ravenous agony with exquisite spectacles. Cults often travel to real space on the Cabal's raids to revel in the pain and to capture fresh meat for their arenas.
What are the Incubi orders?
The aloof incubi. They dedicate their lives to the art of killing, so much so that they do not plot or chase after delicious torment. All their hatred and longing for suffering are channeled toward perfecting their skill.
This is the faction I talked about previously. They are relatively loyal to their patrons, whoever hires them, which is very un-Drukhari-like. Tell me about the Scourges.
Winged Drukhari, who have chosen to go through an agonizing process to become such a monstrosity. They escort raiding ships and inflict the first strike on the enemy. In Camorra, these creatures huddled in flocks so that they do not fall victim to the more formidable of their kin.
I am interested in the homunculi covens.
Artists of the flesh who prefer to hide away in their laboratories and create nightmares from the materials their servants supply. Engines of pain, grotesques, racks, all are the fruits of their subtle craft.
That will do. Marazhai nods, his eyes boring into you. Any thoughts on how we can escape this place?
On a mountain of bodies, bathing in our enemies' tears and blood. Do not deceive yourself by thinking we will escape this place alive without violence. I, for one, hope that there will be plenty of it.
Marazhai licks his lips.
But there is one unfortunate detail. An Arabenian has stepped into your path, one of Kegarak's tribe, who lurk in the tangle of the webway. I've heard them called harlequins in your tongue. The one that appeared in the Obsidian Court is the most dangerous and unpredictable of all. I'm beginning to think that his visit is a sign that the events unfolding around us have not been left to chance. Perhaps they are the result of interference at the behest of the highest authority.
Yeah, so the laughing god is... It's pronounced Kegorak. I've always said Chegorak. CH sound. He's one of the very few, 3 Eldar gods that survived the awakening of Slaanesh. He went and hid in the webway. And Kayla mentioned Cain, the bloody-handed god, kind of survived. He was shattered. His shards are all over the place. And that's how you get the avatar of Cain's. And, shoot, her name is escaping me. The goddess that Nurgle's holding in his garden. I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on that. My companions have made no further attempts to kill you.
They have not, to my deepest regret. Perhaps it is I who should try to show some initiative now.
Marazhai smirks at his unvoiced thoughts. Isha, that's the last Eldar god. Then Inead is the death god that the Inari are trying to bring to fruition. I must take my leave.
Do not keep me waiting too long. My weapon is tired of languishing in its sheath.
Let's check in with the other companions, see if they have anything to say about Marazhai here.
Lord Captain.
Let us Fenrir.
Yes? Sir, yes.
Alright, let's level up Marazhai. See what he has first. So he has Charge, of course, Athletics, Endure, Daring Breach, Defensive Maneuvers. The warrior takes damage, they gain 21% dodge, stacks up to 3 times, and resets after successful dodge. Rigorous Training, the warrior becomes incredibly deft. Charge and Slash do not end the warrior's movement, and grant 18% dodge for 1 round after use. Weapon Skill, Breakthrough. Warrior gains a Slash ability with 4 charges for this round. Slash cannot be used the same round as Charge. The warrior dashes through an enemy to the cell on the enemy's opposite side, and makes a melee attack with 50% reduced damage. Can be applied only once for 1 target per round, does not provoke an attack of opportunity. Athletics, Weapon Skill, Nimble, grants plus 10% bonus to dodge. Carouse, Blade Flurry. Each use of Slash increases the damage dealt by Slash by +1 until the end of combat. Daring Breach Upgrade 1. So Daring Breach also grants 10 movement points until the end of the turn. The warrior does not provoke attacks of opportunity this turn. Desolation. The warrior's melee attacks deal an additional 8 damage to enemies that have no allies in adjacent cells. Agility. Reckless Strike. Dueling Mastery grants plus 15% bonus to parry. Agility. Carouse. Contempt. Whenever an enemy attacks the warrior's next melee attack against that enemy deals an additional 3 damage. Does not stack, but it can be reactivated after another attack made by either the same enemy or a different one. Coercion, Strength, Combat Master. Enemies gain no melee superiority bonuses against this character. It's a bit redundant with Abelard in the party. Ulfar has the same talent, which they don't need. Daring Breach Upgrade 2. At the end of combat, the warrior gains 4 MP for each kill and may use their MP after attacking or using abilities. Excuse me. And then Assassin, he has Seek the Opening. The Assassin sees a single opening for each enemy on one of the enemy's sides. We know what openings do, because we had Adira. We'll read it anyway. Whenever the Assassin hits an opening, excluding overpenetration, they deal an additional 10% of target's max wounds damage. After an attack, the opening is moved to the opposite side of the enemy. Each enemy's openings that were not hit by the Assassin during the Assassin's turn are moved to a random side of that enemy at the start of the Assassin's next turn. And Dance Macabre. The Assassin dashes in a straight line for up to 5 cells, suffering 6 less damage from attacks of opportunity, and gaining 16% dodge against the enemies they dash through until the Assassin's next turn. Sorry, the next Assassin's turn. Swap the words around. The Assassin does not dash through any enemies. At the end of their turn, they gain 6% cover efficiency to their cover until the Assassin moves. Does not stack with itself. After the first use, the Assassin can use this ability again for free. An Eye for the Unscathed. Whenever the Assassin attacks an enemy that is at full wounds, the Assassin gains 20% dodge and dodge reduction against that enemy until the end of the Assassin's next turn. Dispatch. The Assassin makes an attack with the current weapon against an enemy. This attack cannot miss and deals 50% more damage. It also deals additional damage equal to 25% of the target's missing wounds. The Assassin's dodge, dodge reduction, armor penetration, and parry reduction are doubled for this attack. AP increase grants 1 additional AP at 20th rank. Agility. Lone Killer. While the Assassin has no allies in a 5-cell radius around them, they gain 10% dodge and 10% dodge reduction. Agility. Athletics. Elusive Shadow, we've seen that before, but let's read it again, because it has been a while. We haven't had an Assassin in the party since Argenta gunned down the last one. For 1 round, the Assassin becomes the lowest priority target for enemy attacks and gains the Elusive effect. So Elusive, the Assassin can move through enemies. The Assassin gains Agility bonus % dodge and Perception bonus % dodge reduction. The Assassin's attacks deal 10% additional damage. All half cover provides the Assassin 50% cover efficiency, and Elusive fades when the Assassin attacks. Seize the Advantage. The Assassin gains 15 lethality against enemies that have any of the following effects: slowed, immobilized, or hemorrhage. Bonuses gained for each of these effects, but cannot exceed 45 lethality. Weapon skill. Dual weapon combat. We've seen that before. It lets him attack with both weapons, albeit at a penalty. A Bringer of Doom. When the assassin attacks an enemy with a single target attack, this attack reduces the target's armor and dodge by 10% until the end of the assassin's turn. It does not stack. Weapon skill, athletics, dispatch upgrade 2. Dispatch deals additional damage equal to 45% of the target's missing wounds instead of 25% of its missing wounds. It's a nice little upgrade. Characteristic training, agility. Ambush. At the start of the assassin's turn, all enemies that do not have the assassin in their line of sight suffer the unsuspecting effect until the end of the assassin's turn. Unsuspecting, the assassin gains 7% hit chance and 7% critical hit chance against unsuspecting enemies. Perception and Lore Xenos. We get a new ability. I guess Death Whisper? It's that or Killing Edge. The Death Whisper, the assassin makes an attack that does not count toward the limit of attacks per turn. It does not block the assassin's movement, but deals only 25% of the assassin's usual damage. If the attack is successful, the target suffers the hemorrhage effect. A hemorrhage at the beginning of each of the target's turns, they will suffer lethality rending damage. Lethality divided by 10. That ignores armor deflection. Versus Killing Edge. The assassin attacks and grants 40% dodge to the target for this attack. If this attack hits, it deals an additional damage based off lethality, rounded down. This attack hits an opening, its additional damage is increased by lethality percent. So reduce damage or increase dodge chance. I'm gonna go with the Death Whisper, I think. Alright, so we get a talent. The common talent. Okay, these all seem pretty great, so I'm gonna start with Prayer on the Weak. While Marazhai is bleeding, every kill he makes grants him a stacking +5 bonus to weapon skill and ballistic skill. Perfect Opening. The assassin gains lethality percent chance to deal 5% of target's max wounds more damage when hitting an opening. Might go with Lore Xenos here, because I need somebody to do that until we get Heinrich's back. It doesn't matter if it's redundant, because once we get back to real space, I think we'll dispose of him. Because we have the option with Heinrich's to turn Erliot over to the Inquisition. I assume we have the same option with him when we get back. Professional Acumen. Every turn, the first use of an assassin ability costs 0 AP. I think Strength. I'm going to focus in more on melee. And I'm going to grab all of these. Emboldened by Bloodshed. While Marazhai is bleeding... Well, let's do Mantle of Agony first. So while bleeding, Marazhai gains % additional armor. And the next upgrade for Dispatch... So until the end of combat, the target of Dispatch loses half of its current armor deflection. Until the end of combat, whenever the assassin hits an opening, they gain lethality temporary wounds. If the Dispatch attack kills a target, all enemies at a 3-star radius around the target gain 2 stacks of the Disturbed effect and must pass an agility resistance test or become staggered for 1 round. I'm going to go with the temporary wounds. I want him to be a little defensive as a melee character. Alright, Exemplar. We get Exemplar talent and a first tier archetype talent. I think Cataclysm's just good in general, so all damage dealt by the characters increased by 3% until the end of combat for every new enemy damaged by them this combat. And then Emboldened by Bloodshed. While Marazhai is bleeding, his Fellowship and Willpower increased by 15. Not super important. Willpower is nice for saving throws. Can't hurt to have, right? Here, I'm going to do more Lord Xenos. And Carmine Whisper. The hemorrhage effect applied by Death Whisper deals an additional 10 damage. Weapon skill. We could do Aldari equipment. I don't think I need to. Instead, let's do swift movements. It grants 2 movement points. Sworn enemy. We've seen this before. Abelard uses it all the time. So I won't read it again. Lord Xenos. Eager for battle seems pretty good. During the first turn of combat, the character has +2 additional action points. That'd be good for Abelard too. And then Esquive? I've never had to say this before. Each successful dodge grants the assassin % damage for the next successful attack. And more weapon skill, of course. Maybe crowd kill? Ramming speed is probably what I want. I also like Reckless Fury. We may not need ramming speed because he has the other dash abilities from Assassin, so I'm going to grab Reckless Fury for now. A Reckless Strike gains % critical hit chance, based off his weapon skill. Alright. Let's get out of here. Need to get rid of these wounds too. And then we'll head to the Anatomical Opera. Forgot the name of the place. We have some more stuff for Travantius and possibly a means to bargain for Heinrichs. I'd love to have him back in the party instead of Marazhai. So kudos to the voice actor for Marazhai.
Let me help. Let's patch you up.
Blessed be the hand of the healer.
Let us not dawdle.
Thought he did a pretty good job. I do wish you could... I guess I could always respec him. Well, if you respec him, it only goes back to where you recruited him. You can't respec him back down to level 1. There's a couple wasted talents on both Ophar and
I
Marazhai.
always keep my options open.
Especially the one that gives you, was it Combat
the
Master?
appropriate treatise on Tactica Imperialis and weigh every step. Sometimes, though, you just fire your biggest cannon and save the day.
I have... Where's it at? Yeah. Do not falter. All allies affected by Brace for Impact do not suffer the negative effects of melee superiority for the entire combat, which is the same effect as Combat Master, but he can just give it to everybody from the get-go. That's why I was positioning everyone around him at the beginning of combat. Well, that and Rockcrete. Or what is that ability called? Something to do with Rockcrete. Yeah, Wall of Rockcrete. I need to change our formation up, I think. Yeah, so we want Abelard up front. Actually, I think we want Ophar up front. He's limited in his movement because he takes up 4 squares. Probably want something like this.
Is there money to be made?
Oh, that always shows up. Reinforced cable light armor. 50%, sorry, yeah, 50% dodge if the wearer's agility is more than 65. Oh, this is
Rise to
new,
the top,
isn't it?
or get left in the dust.
No, that is not new. Okay, I'm actually going to call it here. Next time I'll speak with Cervantes and turn in the new organs that we've collected. And then... yeah, hopefully we get Heinrichs back too. That's one of our objectives. We also humiliated the witch cult, so... we can progress the main quest next time. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.